I can confirm that the Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours. The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. Out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of the Pentagon, President Biden ordered the military to down the object.
That was White House National Security Council spokesman and retired Rear Admiral John Kirby, confirming today that another mysterious flying object has been shot down over U.S. territory. This comes just 1 week after a Chinese spy balloon was discovered flying over the United States, was eventually shot down by the U.S. military. Now, Pentagon officials would not confirm today whether or not this new object was also a balloon or what its country of origin was. We do know that the second object was notably smaller than the Chinese spy balloon from last week. It was about the size of a car, and that it was also flying at a different altitude, one that made a potential threat to civilian aircraft. For more on this story, return to NBC News Pentagon and national security correspondent Courtney Kube. Courtney, thank you so much for being with us tonight. What more can you tell us about this second flying object that was just shot down?
Well, not much more. I mean, a couple things we do know. It was shot down only about 24 hours after the U.S. military first detected it. So you mentioned it was flying at a slightly lower altitude. That is probably one of the reasons that the Pentagon recommended and the president concurred to shoot this thing down. It was a potential threat to not only civilian aircraft, but also U.S. military aircraft that may be flying up in that area. It was also, and it was much smaller than the balloon that we've all been talking about for the last week and a half. Whatever this object was smaller, and it had a significantly smaller payload. That would also give a potential reason to also bring it down, because it would have a much smaller debris field on the ground. So think about it. The bigger the object is, if you blow it up, especially if it breaks into pieces and falls, potentially it'll spread out over a further area. The third reason was, as opposed to the balloon that they were tracking last week, they watched it as it came along the Aleutians down through Canada and into Idaho, but there was only a short stretch of period where it was over an area that wasn't determined that it could injure or even worse people on the ground or infrastructure. In this case, they were able to take this one down when it was over frozen water, and so there was a high degree of confidence that no one would be hurt on the ground. So one of the things that I find really interesting about this object that we've learned about today is that it doesn't appear that it had the maneuverability of last week's balloon. And the reason I say that is the balloon was moving south-southeast the whole time. We're told, according to the Pentagon today, that this one was actually moving northeast. And some officials are even saying that it may have actually just sort of been blowing with the wind as opposed to being maneuvered or driven. So those are the kinds of questions that we're asking, trying to get an answer to. I understand that the U.S. government is saying that they don't know who this belongs to and they don't have a whole lot of identification. But the one thing I would remind viewers is that they knew pretty quickly after they first detected the balloon last week that it belonged to the Chinese. They were very confident, and it was a surveillance asset. So it stands to reason that we would have answers like that pretty quickly about this one as well, Alicia.
I love, Courtney, that I asked what more you could tell me. You said not much, and then you actually knew so much more about this object than I did. Any indication that this second object was already in the air when the U.S. shot down the first one?
No, and that was one of my questions, because initially, before we knew exactly how big it was, we were just hearing it was a smaller object in the air. And you may remember that last week, when we first learned about the enormous spy balloon that was flying over the U.S., there was some concern that one of the things it could be doing was dropping smaller objects. So things that would be more difficult, smaller and more difficult for sensors to detect. So when I first heard about this and that it was a much smaller one, my first question was this something that could have been dropped by the previous balloon? I was told, according to U.S. officials, they have no indication that was the case. But it's an excellent question. We're hearing more and more ever since the first disclosure, like a little over a week ago now, about this Chinese spy balloon. We're hearing more and more about instances of these sorts of objects flying all over the world, frankly, over countries all over the world. So, it's a fair question. We just don't have that answer yet. Another thing that I found fascinating about today's disclosure was it seems that once again, like they did last week, they sent the U.S. military and NORAD specifically sent F-22s up. And why that's interesting is it's a dual purpose here, because the one thing, it has these very advanced sensors and radars that it can get up close to this object and get a sense of what it is and look at it. But it also has the ability to take it out. It has AIM missiles on it, which ultimately was what the U.S. used to shoot this thing down. So it's been fascinating to me to watch in both of these cases. They chose the F-22 to go in and both take a look and be a potential kinetic asset for it.
Courtney Kube, I am always so impressed by your reporting. Our NBC News Pentagon and national security correspondent. Courtney, thank you so much.